the compare and contrast genre. In the following presentation, I'm going to illustrate a kind of like a rubric overview on the construction of the compare and contrast essay. And so let's begin. Generally, when we think of a compare and contrast essay, we think of two different subjects. Um, However, I've noticed that the best compare and contrast essays, or at least the ones that I feel apply the genre, are essays that take actually one subject and they take that one subject and demonstrate two different perspectives in relation to that subject. So, for example, let's take the example of choice. Now, the following example that I'm demonstrating, I'm actually taking from a psychologist, Professor Barry Schwartz, who wrote an essay, The Tyranny of Choice. And this is his essay I'm actually going to break down in another presentation if you'd like to look at it. But this idea of choice, right? Um, what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this one subject of choice, and within itself, I'm going to demonstrate the two different perspectives. For example, it is commonly noted that choice is a democratic and liberating element. How so? Well, it's great that, if I go to a store, I'm not limited to this one choice per se. In some countries, actually, it's whatever the state makes and provides to its citizens. Well, in this country, it's, by laissez-faire capitalism, um, I have the right to purchase or obtain whatever the offerings that are out there. And it's liberating, right? I have a say so in what I feel best serves me. And if I have that sense of democracy and the liberty, then guess what? I'm going to ultimately be happy. It almost sounds common sense, right? How could choice not be good? Well, choice, interestingly, can also be tyrannical, limiting, and lead to depression. How so? Well, let's look at, here's an example. I go to the doctor, and he assesses me and finds whatever, maybe an allergy or something not so serious. And he goes and he says, okay, this is what we discovered. And so here's how we can improve it. Here's how we can get rid of it. Here are your choices. And he goes through a series, he gives me a list of possible medications I can take, or vitamins, or what have you. And he tells me, which one would you like? You decide. Well, I don't have a medical background. I didn't study the technical jargon or medical jargon. Um, I didn't study, these pharmaceutical labels or what have you. I have no clue about these brands. I say, doctor, I come to you because you're the expert. I trust you. Make a decision for me. I am okay not having that liberty at that point. Right? I entrust in you. Now, granted, this is hypothetical, and in some cases, we're probably going to be very cautious about who our doctor is and what he's informing us of, and the type of medicine that he's prescribing. But in this example, at least, I'm just submitting my liberty onto him for him to decide for me. And he says, I've diagnosed you. This is what you have. But, I don't know if this is the case or not, but he'll say, by legal rights, you have the decision making. Um, you have the rights as a decision maker. I can't take that away from you. So now I'm burdened, right? I am burdened by these choices. So I go home and I'm now researching these brains and the chemicals in them, and and now I'm kind of like undecided and I'm burdened and I'm stressed and I'm frustrated because this is something that's going to go into my body, right? At least if I'm a conscious consumer. Am I making the right choice? Am I, you know, harming or not harming my body? So all this burden ultimately is going to lead to depression. At least from in this hypothetical perspective here, right? So you see how choice may not particularly always be um, the best. Another one could be genes, and this is an example Barry Schwartz utilizes as well, where he says, it used to be a time when I went to the store and there was 501s and 505s and that was it. There's only two choices. And they both were not the best fitting pair of jeans, but they were the only pair of jeans. And so I only, as long as one fit better than the other, I was happy. But now you go to the store and there's a gazillion, you know, labels: 514, 511, 569, 501, 505, 514. Anyways, I could go down the list of all these. And then that's just the Levi's brand. You have all these other brands. And I tried a pair, he says, I tried a pair of jeans, Barry Short says, and it was the best fitting pair of jeans I've ever tried on in my life. But I wasn't happier. I was unhappier because now in my head I'm thinking, with so many choices, surely I could have done better. So my expectations have gone up. Before my before my expectations were low, but with so many choices now, I'm I'm burdened, right? Okay. I hope this is making sense. You're basically taking one subject and you're dividing it to different ways. Um, Here's a thesis. And thesis statements for compare and contrast essay are generally considered to be some of the most challenging because you have these two perspectives or these two subjects in the one statement. But here's an example. The concept of choice, subject, is generally thought of as a democratic right that promotes a self-endowed form of liberty and ultimately leads to happiness. So you see that's the first account of choice. However, same subject, choice is also a conception that is tyrannical, limiting, and unfortunately leads to depression. You see now the argument I'm promoting, right? Okay. I hope this is helping you with regards to the structure, at least in terms of making an argument with regards to the one subject. In terms of structure, there's two different ways to go about it. There's the subject by subject approach or the point by point approach. So here's the subject by subject approach, and very simply, you're taking all the points and you're going to address all the points on the one perspective before you cover all the points with regards to the second perspective. So you wouldn't cover the second perspective at all until you've completely addressed the first perspective. And this is generally the subject by subject approach. The point by point approach is a little bit more, toe to toe, in which you take, okay, what's the first point we're addressing with democracy versus tyranny? Well, it's a type of self-governance. How do I feel with regards to this choice-making process? Well, in one sense, yeah, it's democratic, but gosh, it can really overwhelm me, can't it? Really burden me. It can be tyrannical. The second one, with regards to freedom, is how choice can indeed be very liberating. But also, with so much choice, it may actually limit me. It actually stress me where I can't make up my mind. I can't decide. It can actually impose shackles on me. And the third point, state of being, is if it is indeed democratic and liberating, then of course I'm going to be happy. But if I realize it's tyrannical and imposes these limitations on me, then guess what? I am going to be depressed. Okay. I hope this is making sense. And by conclusion, offer some advice. So if this is the problem, then how do we resolve it? Well, hey, if this is if you're realizing that too much choice leads to this, then guess what? Um, Go out of your way to ameliorate this, right? Maybe don't go in search of too much choice. You know, put boundaries on yourself, something like that, right? Okay. So I hope this helps you. This is a quick overview, kind of it is indeed a rubric, not kind of, it is a rubric for helping you structure your compare and contrast essay. Hope it helps you. Thank you.